Hi, I'm Ashot. I call this episode A Stone in the Pond. The boring training was thankfully coming to an end. It was an agonizing day. For those like me, because we were genuinely interested in the training topic and expected to live with knowledge. For some, because it's very difficult to sleep with open eyes and pick up the conversation as if nothing happened when addressed. Some just wanted to go home to a young wife. Someone missed their children. Christian, who seriously considered himself a decent trainer, was reading word for word from his own presentation on the projector, no longer even interested if anyone was listening to him. I considered him not a trainer, but a presenter. The presenter simply reads his presentation aloud. The trainer necessarily checks for the feedback and, adapting to the listener, ensures understanding of the material. Already packing his things, Christian, chatting with one of my colleagues, complained that the next days were also filled with similar trainings for him. And to my colleague's faked empathy, he replied that the stress is actually beneficial, that we all need stress and work more productively under stress. This is indeed a well-known opinion. Do you agree? Let's give it a shot. Sometime I developed a model that clearly shows what stress actually leads to in the long term. I'm happy to share my model with you. I called it 7 Steps to Burnout. In principle, it's always about the balance of two values, resources and tasks. So, stage 1. Underload. This is where there are more resources than tasks. The result is achieved without effort. Stage 2. Normal load. This is when there are as many resources as tasks. The result is achieved easily. Stage 3. High load. This is when there are slightly fewer resources than tasks, and the result is achieved with effort. Stage 4. Overload. This is when there are much fewer resources than tasks. The result is achieved at the expense of health. Stage 5. Stress. This is when there are constantly fewer resources and constantly more tasks. The result is not achieved well. Health deteriorates. Stage 6. Depression. This is when there are practically no resources and tasks are no longer performed. There is no result, no health, no meaning. Stage 7. Burnout. This is when there are no resources at all and tasks are no longer of interest at all. There is no life. So at what point and why does this imbalance between resources and tasks arise? Here's the thing. The brain is much better suited for processing information than for storing it. It's giving to us more to think than to remember. I'm not saying the brain isn't capable of memorizing, I'm just saying what it does better and what it does worse. There is also a known theory that the number of objects that the brain can simultaneously store in its short-term memory is 7. Well, maybe 8 or 9. Some claim that this number is actually 2 or even 1, because some people will definitely miss their highway exit while talking on the phone in the car. With the modern continuous flow of increasingly complex and increasingly fast and frequent new data, more and more of it escapes from such a brain. And you constantly catch yourself forgetting to start something, not finishing something in time, being late here, not keeping your word there. Imagine one thing. Imagine yourself as a quiet pond somewhere in the wild alpine forest. Now imagine that some strong hand picked up a big stone from the shore and threw it right into your serene virgin surface. What does the pond do while the stone is flying into it? Maybe the pond is thinking this way, oh my God, where did this hand come from? Where did it get so much strength? Why did it throw a stone at me? Did it really to hit me? And at what speed is it flying? How much does it weigh? Will it actually reach me? How will it hit my surface? How will I make the right splashes? Will it go to the bottom? Etc. No! The stone flew in, the pond made splashes, waves went to the shores, the serene virgin surface was restored again. Period. This is exactly how your brain should ideally work when new task stones fly into it. In fact, what scares a person and over time disables them is not the dangerous specifics of the task, but simply its banal uncertainty. A child is afraid of the dark not because there is a specific hungry tiger there, but precisely because it's completely unknown what is there and what it can do to them. For the mind to always be as calm as the surface of the pond, it needs to be kept empty. In other words, remove the darkness factor. And this is possible. You just need to regularly process incoming tasks, turning this very uncertainty into harmless specifics of the task. Many authors have described in their works how to achieve this. Personally, David Allen, with his book on stress-free productivity, helped me a lot in due time. It's about certain steps. Regularly performing them, you will constantly keep your brain empty and therefore functional. And paper or digital media will take care of memorization. Here's how I did it. All my thoughts for later, reminders in the phone, notes, inscriptions on the table, thoughts, promises to other people, and many other things, and stones flying at me, I regularly accumulated in one place, in the task basket. I regularly sat in front of this full basket and, taking them one by one, assigned each task one or another action. For example, do it instantly if it takes a minute, or enter it into the calendar, or add it to such or such project, or delegate it to a colleague, or don't do it at all. I prioritize tasks according to the famous Eisenhower decision matrix. And over time, I realized that 80% of my success lied in completing 20% of the tasks. Then I engaged in directly performing those tasks. In my calendar, certain hours were allocated for this every day when I didn't do anything else. I focused 80% of all time on 20% of all tasks that were important and urgent. And the remaining 20% of all time, I performed important and non-urgent tasks. And unimportant and non-urgent tasks I deleted with pleasure. And also, I choose the time of the day, so these were the hours of my maximum working capacity. At the end of each week, I summarized the week, deleting completed projects and enjoying the results. And as soon as the basket filled up again, I happily emptied it again, illuminating the darkness with light and revealing playful kittens instead of evil tigers. My brain was always empty. I was constantly relaxed and happy. I did no stress, and most importantly, I was productive. So if someone says that stress is actually beneficial, that we all need stress and work more productively under stress, try meeting this person in a year.